Pedophiles everywhere. Now we add the Dalai Lama to the list. You might want to Google it. The Dalai Lama was hugging a little boy. Um, just looked him in the eyes, gave him a kiss on the lips. The little boy was clearly uncomfortable. The Dalai Lama sticks out his tongue and instructs the little boy to suck his tongue. The little boy is clearly uncomfortable and doesn't want to do it. So we have a boundary violation. Now, he issued some BS apology just to save face, but his apology consisted of, I did nothing wrong. It's just innocent playfulness. So he's gaslighting and he's minimizing the abuse. The other thing that people have said, and this is the main point I want to go on, is that people from Tibet have posted apparently on Facebook and Instagram saying this is just a custom in Tibet. This is how we show our love and our appreciation. We're just physically closer. Just like in some countries, men always hug each other. You know, we do this tongue thing. Now, this is what I want to say about the tongue thing. If indeed it is a custom in Tibet to do a tongue thing with your family, I don't think you do it with absolute strangers. Okay, that's number one. Second, anybody who is on the international stage or who travels for work clearly understands the importance of following the customs of the country that you're in. You know, when you're in Japan, you bow. When you're whatever, I don't know all the customs of every country. So you have to be able to read the room and adjust to the customs of the country. Third, there are certain acts of physical closeness that are reserved for family members. Like when I have a baby, I change my baby's diaper, but I'm not going to just let some old guy come along and change my baby's diaper or give her a bath. So within a family where people already love each other and there's trust, children naturally want to be hugged. Okay, they want to be tickled, they want to be hugged, they want to climb up on mom and dad, they want to roughhouse with their friends, they may hold hands with their friends, they give mommy and daddy kisses on the cheek. In some families, maybe on the lips. We never did that. We always kissed on the cheek. And children naturally want to do it. However, here's the important part. The child should never be forced to kiss mom or dad. The child's physical boundaries must always be respected. It's very important to never force a child to hug you when they don't want to. If they don't want to, there's a reason they don't want to. They either don't know you or they're mad at you, you know? So you have to give a child space. You cannot force a child or anyone into physical intimacy. And there's also a power differential. The child doesn't really know how to speak up yet. They just know they don't want to do it. So you have to honor that. And finally, this Dalai Lama didn't even know this boy. Okay, so first of all, he didn't know this boy. So it was not like a family custom thing. Second, the boy clearly didn't want to do it. So it's disregarding the boy's autonomy and lower power over him. He abused his power, that's what he did, to get his own needs met. Okay, the Dalai Lama abused his power to get his own needs met. He wanted that little boy to suck on his tongue, and he didn't give a shit if the boy wanted to and why the boy didn't want to. He just used his power and authority to force it. And that's what pedophiles do. It's called grooming. And they're not, when they abuse kids, they're not spanking you in doing it. They're not stabbing you in doing it, as in rape. The pedophiles do it with love. They give you candy and they take you on outings and they're very sweet to you. And they tell you that they're just sticking their dick in your mouth because they love you so much. So, any people that are speaking up on that behalf, if you think this was okay, I'm going to say that you were sexually abused as a child or groomed as a child or saw it to think that that's okay. Because bodily autonomy and consent is important in interactions, and all physical interactions require bodily autonomy. For example, before I hug people, and I'm a hugger, I like to hug people when I meet them, women especially. I put my arms out and I'll look in her eyes to see if she's okay for a hug. Some people may not want to be hugged. I gauge it. I gauge her consent level, like, do you want to be hugged? I don't just go out and hug someone. The Dalai Lama did not ask for consent from the boy, so that's the first problem. He just barreled at it without, there was no consent on the part of the boy for the hug. The second part that's really important is to understand the power differential from like a boss to an employee or an adult to a child. An adult has all the power, the child has none. They don't know how to speak up. They're very dependent. They look up to you. They adore you. You know, this little boy probably adored the Dalai Lama. He was so happy he got to be up on that stage. And this power differential is often abused by parents, by teachers, and, you know, by people in other positions of authority, Boy Scout leaders, the Dalai Lama. He abused his position of authority because he's like, I'm the Dalai Lama, I can get away with this. You know, no one's going to stop me. So it was wrong on many, many levels. And anytime that we get in someone's physical space, it has to be consensual. There is no, this is what we do in our country. We don't care if the kids like it or not. If you're touching kids without their consent, even if you're a parent and you're forcing hugs on them, that's traumatic to a child. Even if you don't want to use the word abuse, it's traumatic to a child. And you're doing it for your own self without considering the needs of the child. And that's not what holy people do. I'm sorry. If I need to get hugged, I'm going to go to someone who wants to hug me. I'm not going to force myself on someone who has less power than me. So the Dalai Lama is either senile, he's a groomer, and he's definitely a gaslighter. I always found him very creepy. I'm going to call this a creepy Dalai Lama. Violated the child's boundaries. Yeah, he's a creep. He disgusts me. He was always very repulsive to me. Ugh. He's so gross. And I'm a woman who likes sex, you know, and, but this whole stick my tongue out and suck it, it's like, ugh. That is gross. I have never had a man that I've had sex with or that I dated or even anyone ever in my life go suck on my tongue. That is just gross, especially to women. We don't like to suck on your spit. Ugh, so disgusting. It was disrespectful to the child who clearly didn't want to be there. Now, if there is a Tibetan custom of children sucking on adults' tongues and they're enthusiastic about it, just as they are about petting their puppy or playing outside with their dolls in their cars, I'm very curious. If they do it, I don't know. I never heard of such a thing. Okay, that's all I want to say. He's a creep. Creepy bastard. Should be fired. Just like those pedophile priests. Who knows what this guy's doing in private? Here, touch my penis, little boy. You know, who knows what this fool is doing in private? I'm just disgusted by him. Creep. Do not idolize religious people. Don't idolize anyone. Always use your common sense. I think is the lesson here.